let's do some chords, take it out, and the piano, that. in the groove. Hey, what's up, Stephanie? How you doing? I'm up in here. You know what I'm doing. Cutting up some new stuff. Adding some parts, mixing some parts together. Make it all blend, you know. I have to listen through the monitors, you know, to make sure everything's coming through right. Strings are important because they set that backdrop, you know, the mood tells the story. That's right. How's everybody doing? Dana, what's up? Yeah, it's a lot going on out there, right? In this world. It's you really don't even, it's not like you try to keep up with it. You know, it's just you scroll, you get on the put up a post or do what I'm doing and posting, and next thing you know, you see stuff. It's a lot going on. If it ain't one thing, it's another. But it keeps me creative. I always find something to write about. I tell people you can never have writer's block. All you have to do is just go online, look at the current news, look at the gossip, whatever. Next thing you know, you got your song going. It's what it is. It's not even on that key, it's on that key. Okay, it's on these three keys. Oh, it's the same as on this keyboard. Okay, I got it now. I like that better. I like how those strings fade out when you stop it. Just I don't know. It'd probably sound better on a nylon string. Let's see. Yeah, or maybe this chord. Do these. Or yeah. I don't know. I'll decide on which chords I want to use for that. But how y'all doing out there? Everybody enjoying their weekend? Yep. The rainy weather. It's been up and down. 1 minute we in the storms, next minute the sun is out. Today it was cool and breezy. Yesterday, my wife and I went to tribute for Quincy Jones at USC. If you didn't go there, you missed out. Man, it was amazing. The orchestras and all of the students and that attend the school, they were part of the band. They got down. Then one of the original keyboard players, if you know music, you know who Greg Fillinganes is. He played on a lot of Michael Jackson's records and toured with Michael and some of everybody. Well, he was one of Quincy Jones' right-hand men, too, in music, next to Rod Temperton. And he was there. He was playing some synth stuff. He got, spoke about Quincy and with him working with Michael Jackson and everything. And it was a good time. I haven't gotten a chance to post the pictures. I'll post some pictures of that. And of course we couldn't shoot video, that wasn't allowed. But Ledisi performed. She sang, oh my God. Her and this Latino guy, they did a James Ingram. I think it was James Ingram, I have to remember. But Ledisi killed it. She came out there and just blew it out the water. So it was a great tribute. Some of Quincy's family was there and everything. And when you realize just how much this man has done, I mean, then you start finding out songs you had no idea Quincy Jones even touched. You know, I mean, the man was definitely a Mozart. You know, I mean, this guy wrote music. He wrote the notes. He wrote everything, strings, horns, all this stuff, you know, and played trumpet till he couldn't play anymore because he ended up getting a plate in his head back in the 70s. So they said, you know, that's when he stopped playing trumpet. But the man could write music, and I was just so that much more impressed, you know, with his accomplishments and all of his contributions to music. I mean, he goes back pretty much to the 40s, 1940s. That's a long career. His birthday was yesterday too. He would have been 92. And that's when you realize, man, life is about living a life that blesses other people. Your demonstration, how you carry yourself, and leaving a legacy of love behind. Because there's a lot of people in his family, and it's not that we're perfect. No, none of us are perfect. It's not that. But when you can leave a legacy of love and a legacy of music, that's, I mean, 200 years from now, people are going to know who Quincy Jones is. 200 years from now, people are going to know who Michael Jackson is. You probably saying, that's a long time from now. Well, think back. 200 years ago, everybody knew who George Washington was. So it's possible to be remembered, you know, and 200 years from now, people are going to talk about George Washington. People are going to talk about Abraham Lincoln. 100 years from now, people are going to talk about John F. Kennedy. So it is very possible to stay remembered. You know, it's about the legacy. And I've always wanted to leave the legacy, you know, behind for my children and grandchildren. Say, hey, man, our granddad, he was a musician. He toured with a bunch of people, played for so many people, met so many celebrities, know so many celebrities. But beyond all of that, it's the legacy of love that their dad was loving, you know, and helped people when he could, you know. Couldn't always be. My former pastor, he said this. He said, maturity understands that people can't always be there for you. And I had learned that, and I took that on as like, that's true, because my dad couldn't always be there for me. I mean, well, he could have, but my dad always said, you know, you never asked me for anything when you got out there and you got married, and you never told me if you were struggling with anything and all of that. I just always took care of my business. You know, that was just me taking care of. But I knew if I did ever need my dad, he would be there. But me, I always just took care of my business. You know, that's what we do. When you become an adult, that's what at least for me, become an adult, you handle your own adult business. You know, but yeah. So Donna, it's been a while. Haven't heard from you or seen a post from you in a minute. You know, these algorithms on Facebook is a trip now. You know, people can be posting, but there are folks I haven't seen post anything in a year. And they're like, I'm posting all the time. And I'm like, I don't ever see it, you know, but so yeah, that's been my whole thing, man, is to leave a legacy for my children. And one day when my sons have grandkids, so many people have beat me to that one. I think I'm probably going to be in my mid-60s by the time I see, and I ain't even out of my 50s yet. So by the time I see any grandkids, but you know, hey, is what it is. But I have cousins that are like in their 40s that are grandparents. 30s, 40s, something like that, you know. But like my great aunt is my aunt is a great-great-grandmother, a great-grandmother, and she's only 69. She's been a great-grandmother since she was 62 or something like that. And her son would have been a grandfather at 39, 20 years ago, right? Well, no, he would be about 42, 44 by now. So, yeah. He would have been a grandfather at 39 had he lived. Isn't it crazy? Grandparents, age gaps are totally not what they used to be. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. I know you stay busy. You're an artist too, just like me. We stay busy. I stay performing, stay teaching, and all of that. So, but life is beautiful, I miss my mom. I always think about her. And she would be so proud. I mean, man, she missed our wedding by one whole year, man. And but she loved my wife. She definitely knew I was in good hands, We live and we learn. I had to grow. There were periods in my life where I was spiritually dead. I mean, back, I want to say, probably from 1988 to about 2001, I was spiritually dry. And I didn't realize it until more into the years that I got into 2000s. And I realized it was a change needed to take place. And I took that leap. Yep, still there, almost 20 years. 20 years. But I'm going to talk to you about that on another. I'll inbox you. But yeah, 20 years. The whole staff over there is gone, man. Everybody, Mario, Ben, everybody is gone. All the people that you did, Ronnie, all of them left. So it's been some changes in staff, and especially since COVID hit. Yeah, but I'm going to talk to you on the sideline about that. But yep, still doing it. And yeah, so I had to make some changes. And 2001 was really when the road began for me to make those changes. And yeah, that's when it started, and I stayed on the path, and then God blessed. I stayed faithful to what it was that He. Oh, wow, really? Good God Almighty, Donna, I thought you look like you're about 52. If that, don't even look that. To be sitting up there talking about you retired, damn. I don't know where that time went. Sheesh. Oh, boy, I don't know where the time goes, but yeah. But you look amazing. I always have looked amazing. 60, god damn, really? Man, I could swear you were about at least 49, 52 at the most. And that's not saying that you even look that, because I've known you for years, so I know we in the same, we came out the same era, basically. But I'm just saying, yeah, wow. I don't know where it goes, Donna. I'm telling you, this year seems like it's going to fly out of here faster than the last 2-3 years did. Because here the hell we are already talking about spring break, and June is coming up after that. We'll be doing summer, and then bam, fall. We're right back at Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all over again. Yeah. Yep. You're one of those ones that you can't say, like who's a couple other people I know from my old church. I never knew they always look the same. You just never can pinpoint what their age was. But you knew, what I'm saying? It was like, wow. And then I find out some years later, and I'm like, what? Like, you would never know. You're one of those ones. You just can't pinpoint. You wouldn't even know. It's like, and then to say 63, people are shocked. Like, what? Really? What? Yep. So we've seen a lot, right? We've seen everything that this generation hooting and holler came from us, our generation. We saw all of the conspiracy theories. Yeah, I know. Oh, she said she feel different now. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I'm staying on that journey to eating healthy and exercising and doing the yoga and the Tai Chi and the stretching and all of that. So, I can still get on the stage and jump around. I could hang with Lenny Kravitz on stage. Okay, so yeah, me and Lenny could jump around and rock out. But yeah, so I had to make these changes, and it was a road. It was a long road, and God blessed. Like I said, He opened the doors, blessed me with a beautiful woman in my life, and but I always wanted to be married. I never wanted to. Oh yeah, right. Every demographic. I've never wanted to. I've always wanted to be married. Whoever it was that I ever tried to talk to, there was an intention to like, okay, you know what? Boom. I want to check you out. I never wanted to be like just a boyfriend or to somebody, I've always wanted to go higher. And that's with everything in my life. I want everything to be solid, I had to live and learn. I had to grow through some things. I had to remove people out of my life to get into better relationships and things like that. And sometimes it was just on the cusp of just trying to get out of the relationship to a new one. And a lot of times, like, you know what, I'm going to just chill and handle this and get on. But we live and we learn, and that's the thing. We have to grow, We have to grow and love one another. It's like I said, there's so much going on. People want to hear, they want to hear the music. I love strings. Gotta have those strings in the song. That's the 70s music. I always had those strings back then. But, yeah, the only way America is gonna work, is love and compassion for one another. This America that this man and these people are thinking that they're bringing. See, all right, let's start here. Before 1492, the European invasion, there was no mortgages here on this land. There was no rent. There were no taxes. There was no need for that because people lived freely on this land. The indigenous people, the Aztecs, the Mexicans, they were here. And it just always blows my mind how people sit up there and be telling these people they need to stay at the border. When you go back and do history, and there are facts to history, that the Mexican border at one time went practically almost over to the East Coast. When this land was stolen, and see, we've been programmed to this lifestyle that this is normal. Paying rent, paying mortgages, all this crazy, going to a 9-to-5. People didn't have 9-to-5s in 1492. They got up and they hunted and went to get their food. So to sit here and say this is a great America, come on. This shit is not great. People out here struggling to pay bills and rent and all of that. What the hell's so great about that? This is a system that the Europeans designed. This is not the system that was not here before they came here. So to sit here and tell me that this is America is going to be great again. Well, if it's going to be great again, take it back to 1492 when people didn't have to stress paying bills and everything and mortgages and you know, all of this stuff that they've come up with, the loophole, insurance and all this. How do you think these people took care of themselves? They doctored on each other. They ate off the health of the land and the fruit and the vegetables that was here. And they did not have diseases like chicken pox, measles, mumps. All of that stuff was brought over here by the Europeans. It was brought over here by them. So you want to tell me if I want to be in a great America, take me back to then before the European invasion. I'd be happier with that. Because everything I got now, I had to slave my butt off to get it. You know, I have my own recording studio, like really, you know, bam, bam, in my house. But I'm just saying, you know, you have to, oh yeah, I know, it is. But you know, we've been programmed that this is how things supposed to go. You get married, you have a dog, you get your house, the American dream. Well, when we tried to do all of that in the 1940s and 50s, they didn't want to sell us homes. They didn't want to sell black people homes. This area that I live in Windsor Hills, you could not come nowhere near here in the 60s. I had a friend who grew up over here in South Central, and the only reason why I can moved in here today is because there are black folks that moved here. Ike and Tina Turner's house is right around the corner from me. That's right up the hill from me. Ray Charles' old house is right up here in my neighborhood. So, you know, because of the African Americans who could move in here, afforded me the opportunity to move in here, you know. So, but back in the 60s, the earlier 60s, before Ike and Tina Turner got here, Ray Charles and all of them, you couldn't even go past Central Avenue. I had a friend, he grew up in Central, over there in South Central, and he said, man, we couldn't go past Central Avenue. The police would come after you and all of that, unless you were a maid or somebody's servant headed to Beverly Hills, and you had to have some little pass or card or something that showed you was going to whoever house you was going to. Other than that, they wasn't having it. Oh, yeah. You know, so I was born in 1966. My birth certificate got Negro on it. Okay, to this day. But yeah, you know, so we this country is never going to be great as they're trying to make it. The country, the people, the things that make make things great here are loving people, compassionate people, the educators, teachers, the musicians, the people who heal others through their gifts and talents and things like that. And you don't have to be a musician or an artist. People can have talent cooking. You know, people can have talent just through words and compassionate words that they share with people, you know. So, yeah, whatever it is you do. But this country is never going to get to where it's supposed to be with these greedy billionaires playing these stupid games. They sat up there and swore up and down, oh, we're going to get jobs. And they fired and laid off more people. And not only that, they done fired the people who voted them in. And I knew that was coming. I'm like, see, make it make sense. Because people who voted for Trump and not voted for Trump work at LAUSD. People who voted and did not vote for Trump work at Target. So somebody, you know, so somebody was going to get the axe from those jobs either way. The non-voters and the voters. But the voters didn't see that coming, because you know why? You vote for people if you think you're getting something from it. I don't vote for people because I think I'm getting something, because I've never wanted a goddamn thing from none of them folks from that joke house. Okay, I vote because black folks died to vote. I get up and reprimand my damn self. I'm not waiting for them to give me shit. They owe us. Oh, yes, they do. They owe African Americans big time, but it ain't enough money in the world that can calculate it. All the hundreds of millions of people that fell off of those ships and they threw off those ships and fed to the sharks and all of that, and lynchings and all this stuff that we went through. There ain't an amount of money, but they need to start somewhere, you know. So that's the whole thing. You know, we have to realize, you know, we got to realize, man, that, hey, they owe us. Are we ever going to get it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It may happen in our lifetime. It may not. But I ain't worrying about it. I'm going to get up, go out here. I'm going to educate our youth. I'm going to go do what I do. Do what God brought me here to do. I wasn't brought here to be a superstar. All of that. I go out, do my music, and bless people and do what I do. I don't care about winning awards. I don't care about signing no record deals, none of that crap, and getting locked up into selling my soul and them owning my masters, all of that. Nope, I own all of my music, everything, and they can't tell me nothing. So, but yeah, you know, you have to really do what it is we were brought here to do, and educate our youth. That's what we need to do, so they won't repeat some of the mistakes and things, you know. I mean, I always hoped for a day that our children didn't have to deal with this racism and all of this kind of stuff, you know, but here it is. You know, it's a different year, but the same atmosphere of the 60s and the 50s, you know. It just what it is, man, what it is. So yeah, you know, what it is. But I just make music and make people happy. And keep it grooving. You know, that's what we got to do. Right, artists? Swing these axes, boy, till we can't swing them no more. Roller coaster. Say what? So yeah, you know, it's a game. I've never expected anything great to come from a White House. Now, I mean, you think about this. Think about how big the planet is. And you think about how small of a speck that one little building is compared to the world and the galaxies. Why we place so much value. I don't even say value, but so much trust, like something great's going to come from out of there. It was built on the backs of slaves. So therefore, let's start with that energy in itself. Forced labor, and then we expect greatness to come from it. And they've never even answered for the forced labor that built it. Like George Clinton, the parliament said, paint the White House black. Okay, you give me some black paint, I will be over there with a paintbrush, airbrush, whatever, and paint that sucker black. I'm sick of the foolery that comes out of there. Ain't nothing ever great came out of there. Obama was in there. He told us, look, there's so much mess in here. He couldn't kick a dent in nothing. And then nobody wanted him to do nothing. And he had a lot of love and hate, what my thing was with Obama? He was a black man that loved his wife and his kids. I loved seeing them together. That was my thing. But all of that other stuff, nope. You want to know, let me tell you, seriously. You guys, it's the people that make a city work. And until the people start really protesting the things that are, protest when stuff like George Floyd happened. But I don't understand why nobody ever just hooted and hollered about when these damn rents got up from $800 to $3,000. Wait, you really want me to hit you with something? The other house that we have, right over by Target, we went over there when they built that building, the Cumulus, right there on Jefferson and La Cienega. We said, let's go just check this, just see what they're talking about. We go online. Now, there's a Whole Foods right there. You know where that is, Jefferson and La Cienega, See's Candy. Used to be the public storage there. Now they got a big, huge apartment building they built there now. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. It's 2 of them in there. An office building. Well, on the other side is the Whole Foods. Now it's Cumulus building. It's the big, tall building. There's all these homes right on the other side of that river. They fought against that. And of course they lost because the billionaire money speaks. They're going to cover our view of the sun and blah, blah, blah. No, we're not going to do that. Blah, blah, blah. They got the building up anyway. They put a Whole Foods in there. There's another apartment complex. If you go inside past the Whole Foods, it's another one back there called Vox and Arc. So it's 2 of them. Vox, then there's Arc, then Cumulus. So that's 3 properties on there, right? We looked at the apartments that's over on top of the Whole Foods. Those are singles and bachelors. 1 bedroom. You want to know how much a 500 square foot single is in that building? Was $4,200. My recording studio is bigger than that. $4,200. I'm like, you know what? And nobody picketed, nobody ranted, raved over that to even try to get that stuff from getting that far. We've allowed these billionaires, man, to take over. And they're gaining too much power to the point where it's getting to the point some of y'all gonna have to answer to these fools in a minute if they get too much power. And he could be related. That slave trade is a mother. Ain't no telling who you related to, William, because Ramsey is not a black name. So, shoot. Hey, it is what it is. Is what it is, y'all. This world is a mess. It's always been a mess. Who is that? You should sing with me. Well, you don't live in LA. Yep. Yeah, I've collabed with a few people, but I think me being a solo artist, I'm loving this because I get all my money from my gigs. Oh, my wife and I, we formed a spoken word duo. You ever heard of Kindred? They do the R&B. Yeah, we're gonna be, but not just like them, because we got our own vibe. Of course, I got my own music and everything, but yeah, we putting us a spoken word duo together. Shot a little mini video at a party we did at our house a couple of weeks ago, and people were really loving it. Her vibe, and she writes, I write, of course, and do the music. So nothing like nothing like that husband and wife energy. That's what it's about, man. That husband and wife energy would take you far. So it doesn't matter what you put in front of it. Pharaoh, Ramsey, you go and look up that name. Hey, my uncle did our family tree it starts from, what was it? 1845. Starts off with a man named Frenchman Broussard. Okay, so we already know what the hell he was, and it is what it is. It's just what it is, But because ain't nobody here fully black. That's what cracks me up. Just because you dark skinned don't mean you all the way 100% black. Because first of all, black ain't a race. African. Africans is a race. Nigerians. Okay, because Smith is not black. Okay? Black folks need to go do their research and quit all this stupid stuff. You ain't in my family just because I'm light skinned. Really? Okay, whatever. Go back 100 years the next thing and do the DNA test to get you to know who all your... Hey, I found out a friend I've known for over 21 years is related to me. And we've been friends for days. Her kids played with my kids. Okay? And she went online and she sent me some information in my inbox. I said, that is my grandmother. That is my mother. And her brothers in 1953. She had all their records of living in Gary, Indiana, with my grandmother being 37 years old. And come to find out, I said, we are. I told you. I said, I kept telling you. I felt like we were related, and she did the research. So Ramsey, we could be related. Well, I mean, not we could. We are, because what people do not understand. See, you got to think. I've always been a thinker. I've never been to the type of person who believes stuff just because that's just what I believe. My beliefs got to be based off facts. I can't be sitting up here going, because why do I believe it then? I can't be, because that's just what I believe. Well, you got to have a damn reason. Because to sit there and just say, because that's just what I believe, that means you just throwing nothing in the air. Why do you believe what you believe? But what I understand is, when those ships came here, and this is going to hit you with this, you think about this. When we got off of those ships and were brought over here in chains, people were separated. Families were separated. Some went to the south. Some went to the north. Some went to the west coast. And then over years, when we became more freer, whenever that was, in 1865, they considered us to be free, but they still killed us off anyway, and continue to do it today. We traveled, which meant if you were separated from family members 100 years ago and you moved to the south and married somebody down there, there's a good chance that person you married was through the separation of family members from 100 years ago. Then you got people who fled the south and migrated to the north. You don't think that somebody married a cousin, 16th cousin ago? So we're all related. There is no such thing as pure black unless you come straight out of Africa. Not in this country, There is no, if you were born here, you are not pure black because your skin is dark. Okay? So, and there is no race called pure black. So, let's move on. You're either from Africa, Nigeria, Egyptian, or something, where it all started. Now, refute me on that. But anyway, so yeah, we have to, we gotta love one another. We definitely gotta do that. And oh, dude, man, hanging, about the only time right at this moment that I get to hang is with my wife, because both of us is teachers, and when we get those breaks, man, we be trying to get it all in because, like I said, we're both teachers, and then I'm attending college courses. Then before a year ago, my wife was attending college courses. So factor that in. When we want to see each other, we like, it's spring break. Where are we going? Where are we going to hang? When I was single, I was always hanging. Not saying it won't ever happen again, but well, between these college courses and all of that, working and doing the music and being married now, yeah. I don't even get to Leimert Park like I used to. It's like, oh, we got a chance to slide over to Leimert today. Let's see what's happening, right? So But, so yeah, like I said, this country was great when we were in Africa minding our business. The Europeans and the lost Christopher Columbus was over in his country minding his business. And everybody that was the original people here was here minding theirs, living off the land with no taxes, no rent, no grocery stores. You see, we programmed that we need all this stuff. And these people lived like this for thousands of years before 1492. And they never had none of that stuff. No mortgages, no taxes, no insurance, no, the doctors, yeah, they had somebody who studied what plants and stuff heal you and things like that. Of course, people die from old age, but they didn't have chicken pox, smallpox, and all this crap we've had to get shots for, because these Europeans brought it over here. And if you don't believe me, Google it up, do the research, and find out where they came from. The facts are there. Africa didn't have that stuff. But they want to blame all these diseases on Africa. Oh, it came from Africa. AIDS came from Africa. And because they're always trying to hide from the truth of themselves. That's what they do. And sit there and blame everything on the black folks. And then every time we created, I Googled up a whole bunch of massacres of black folks. And I got about 15 or 20 of them in my phone. And I had posted them, said, you wonder why African Americans are mad all the time and can't get over this stuff. Look at all the massacres. We leave and go and move to a different city because you don't want us in yours, but you come over there and you burn down Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Black Wall Street. Then we go somewhere else. They follow us over there. They always talking about they didn't want us around us, but every time we went somewhere to go create our own, they came and destroyed it. What sense does that make? See, this is the truth that they don't want to talk about no more. That's why they're trying to get rid of the books. They're trying to control them and get rid of the Department of Education so they can implement their own crap, because they have yet to answer for slavery. They have yet to answer for the stupid crimes that they've allowed to exist in this country. Jim Crow and all this stuff. And you black folks that fall for this stupid stuff, y'all just as worse as some of them, falling for this old stupid plan that these people got. They ain't never had no plan for black folks. You wake up and you get up and reprimand yourself. That's what I do. I ain't waiting for them to give me nothing. James Brown said, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Just open the door. I get it myself. And I always understood what the heck he was talking about when he said that. People can say what the hell they want about James Brown, but James Brown left this world owning a business, his own airlines, and didn't even go to high school, didn't even go to school. So, okay, miss me with that. And I know people that got college degrees ain't got no damn common sense. Anyway, got book sense, no common sense. James Brown didn't even go to school and changed the entire world through his music and his dedication to civil rights. So please, miss me with that. Anyway, how y'all doing? My father didn't raise no dummy. My mama didn't raise no dummies. I've always been up on this bull crap in this country since day one. I had 2 aunts that was Black Panthers in Chicago. They always informed me. So you ain't never gonna pull no wool over my eyes. I don't get pimped. Never have, never will. Okay? Y'all can fall for this okey doke stuff in that White House if you want to. Ain't nothing good coming from there. The only goodness we got is the goodness from God. Not the church, God. I ain't talking about the church because you got fools up in there too. I'm talking about the source. And he ain't up in the sky and all of that because he said, I'm in you. So why am I going to pray to the sky if he said he's in me? You know, don't get me started on all this foolery. There's so much foolery out there, and black folks been deceived since day one. A black man could open up a church before he could open up a bank. Okay, everybody that created the church didn't create a church because they believed in God. Okay, why you think you had all these Bible pimps out there, Reverend Ike and all these people? Okay, so you got to be up on things. Know who you are. Know that God is in you. That's right. He said, I made you in my image. So if I made you, why am I sitting up here praying to the sky? You ain't praying in no sky. He said he's everywhere. I could have church sitting right here in this studio. I can get my wife. We can come in here and pray the ceilings off this place. Church it's not about that building, y'all. Okay? Yeah, we can congregate anywhere. I can congregate outside. I can congregate over the phone with church folks. So y'all better understand, man. Don't get pimped. Don't sit up there and have your faith in the White House, that little bitty speck, compared to this entire planet. Got people all around the world hemmed up. Come on. This country was great before 1492. And it'll never be great again with people struggling to survive, paying off crazy rent, mortgages, bill. Mortgage ain't nothing but a fancy word for rent. Because if you own something, you ain't point. I own every PC equipment in here. I own all 34 of my guitars. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I own all the masters of my music that I record in here. You can't tell me nothing. It's my music. I own it. My father told me, he said, if you don't ever own anything in your life, you'll die in poverty. My dad told me that. Okay? So you can't tell me nothing. You don't own my music. You can't tell me what I can write. You can't tell me what I can record. And that's what a lot of artists went through messing with them record labels. Prince warned us for years throughout his entire career till he got off of Motown and went indie. You know, James Brown told us. And people still trying to run and get these record deals and lose their master recordings and be a slave. That's why he wrote slave on his face, because he knew. He said, till I get out of this deal and do what I want to do, I'm going to keep this on my face. That dude was a genius. Y'all talked about Prince, but I wouldn't leave Prince in no room with no woman of mine, boy, because that dude would snatch a woman up, heels or no heels. That's y'all problem. Y'all be looking at too much of them on the outside when it come to people. I seen short women in Chicago beat niggas up on the south side. Okay? I'm from Southside Chicago. You ever see some sisters throw down and fight some dudes? My cousin Christine took 2 dudes and threw them over cars for hitting my mom one time. Okay? So I don't believe in underestimating nobody. Short, tall, skinny, small, fat, under fat, whatever. I don't underestimate nobody. But I do have compassion and love for everybody. That's what's going to make this country great. Those guys in there ain't about no love and compassion. How you come out? You love people, compassion. You firing everybody. Firing this person. Fire. All because they want to have their own little old way. They like little bitty kids. Got to have their own way. And you black folks voted that fool in office. Need to be shackled yourself. That don't make no sense. Because he ain't giving you nothing. And if you think $1,200 with some money, I need to come over there and slap all of y'all. Because that ain't $1,200 ain't nothing. I got bass strings almost that doggone much. Please. Y'all crazy. That man ain't got nobody's back but his own. That's how they've always been. It's the American way. It's to fool the black folks and take your land. They stole Crenshaw. Me and Tory Reese, didn't we see it? Tory Reese is on here right now. 20 years ago was telling me about, we were out here passing out flyers on gentrification. Weren't we not, Tory? Passing them out. Oh, you niggas don't know what y'all talking about. Throwing our stuff in the trash. And guess what? The ones that was telling me that, they don't live in LA no more. You know why? Because they couldn't afford it no more. Look at all the festivals in LA right now. Taste of Soul, Turnout, Poor. All the festivals you go back to, because so many people have left. The U-Haul just put out a report. If you don't believe me, Google it up. U-Haul put out a report last year on how many people left Los Angeles. They said, man, they had so many bookings for those U-Haul trucks going out of state that it broke a record. Over 1 million people. Not to mention COVID killed off a lot of people. A lot of people have left because of high rents, mortgages, all this is just high. Nothing's going down. And they've left. So now you go to these festivals, you notice Taste of Soul is nowhere near as crowded as it used to be. The Inglewood festivals, all the festivals, turnouts, poor. And businesses are closing down because the people that frequented them, they're not here anymore. Pay attention to the patterns, y'all. Wake up and pay attention to the patterns, because if you think that you are getting something from Trump being in office, you are crazy. He has told us what he was going to do, and he is doing it. And we are not in his favor. The only people that's in favor of his favor are people who like that character Samuel Jackson played in Django. Those folks. You know what we call them? COON. Okay? They still exist. They still amongst us, y'all. You know. So, it's what it is. I'm telling you, man. There's no way in the world you're going to convince me that this system is great. There's no possible way. You know. Oh, yeah, they are always there. They've always been there. I saw one get up there and endorse him. Black man, blacker than my shirt. Oh, he is the greatest, and he's up there doing all this, and Trump sitting up there looking at him like, yeah, that's right, coon. Uh-huh. You, because I'm using you too. I'm telling you, man, y'all better pay attention to what's going on. I get up and reprimand myself. I'm not waiting for them to give me nothing. I get up and I go earn what I do. And I will take this guitar and play it to my heart's content and make my money and do what I do and stack and stack and stack. And when this crazy system hit the fan, me and my wife ain't going to have to be worrying about nothing. Okay? Because I got her back and she got mine and we know what's up. Y'all better get on it. Quit looking for these women. It's because they cute. They gotta have some upstairs going on. Yep. That cute gonna fade out. My cute gonna fade out, but I'ma still be my greatest me in whatever age I'm at. You better know that. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild. Like I said, I vote because there are people who died for us to do it. And I ain't expecting nothing to come from that. I go in there, do my thing, pray, and get on out. I'm not expecting nothing from these people in that White House, because that White House is full of it. You know, people are losing their jobs left and right since he been in there. I'm gonna bring the jobs back to the American people, and he firing people. You're fired. Like his show he used to have. You're fired. You're fired. That's what he liked to do. You know, go grab him by the coochie. Y'all forgot about that. You know, he sat up there. I'm not condoning R. Kelly, but y'all put him in the hole, and then here this fool had videotape talking about grabbing women by the coochie, and y'all voted him into office to run a country. I ain't stupid. The Three Stooges got more sense than y'all for voting him in there. Oh boy. Y'all need to quit. Y'all need to quit. 37 counts of felonies, and y'all voted in there. Come on. Y'all better not ever ask for another doggone background check. If I ever need to go fill out a job application, I'll be like, you gonna waive that background check. You let him in office, you gonna waive me too. Y'all, this stuff is a joke. I mean, it really is. These politicians and all, they are a joke. You know, this woman gonna sit up here and get mad at me talking about Elon Musk. And I'm like, Elon Musk ain't qualified to be up in there in everybody's business like that and money. Don't you want to know where the money goes? I said, woman, I ain't stupid. I can take you all over LA and show you where, in the streets of LA, and show you where the money going and ain't going. I don't need Elon Musk to tell me that. All you got to do, if you're smart enough, pay attention to your community. You know, Elon Musk could tell me where some damn money went. Before any of them got in office, we saw where it was going and where it wasn't going. They ain't the only president and people been in office that we didn't have a problem with. We ain't like Nixon. Come on. Even the people come up with more dang on excuses why these people need to be up in office doing what they doing. And wait, these are black folks that be telling me this. I'm like, you can't be that damn stupid. These is black folks telling me this stuff, and I'm like, and all I can see is Samuel Jackson's face in that character, Django, whether they male or female. I'm like, boy, y'all stuck in the dark ages. Still thinking Massa is the hope for the people. Oh, Massa, you gonna give me $1,200 again? Really? Like $1,200 is some money. I got a guitar that cost that much. Are you kidding? My strings be $60, $75, and y'all talking about some $1,200 is some money. But won't go out there and fight for the 48. You know what, look, I'd support you if you was going to fight for the 40 acres and a mule. You know, come on. But $1,200? Trump gave me some money. I'm like, well, why are you struggling right now? Where's your house? This woman, a friend of mine, tells me this time, he gave me some money. I'm like, I be wanting, because I'm compassionate, I be wanting to tell her, well, why are you struggling? Where the money at? What did he give you? I'm trying to figure this out. Can somebody tell me? What the hell did he give you? Are you struggling? Can't even afford to live where you was living anymore? I'm trying to figure out what this money is that she keeps talking about. Y'all better wake up. It's the people who make a country work. They got it reversed. They're trying to claim power and take away the power from the people. And they're trying to make you think you have power in your voting. That it's the only way that it can come from. No. If You saw what happened when the bus strike, folks. Oh, come on! My great grandmother and them said they walked 8 miles to church in the southern heat and then back home. And they did this not for just one day, like we just had this little blackout for one day. They're like, okay, we'll go to sleep during the blackout and wake up tomorrow, business as usual. You need to have a permanent blackout. Seriously, my wife stopped going to Target. She stopped going to all them doggone places permanently. Not just no one day blackout, permanently. That's the only way they understand stuff, is when you hit them in their pockets. And that's what they did with that bus strike. They hit them hard, said, nope, we're not giving in. How many people? You could go back and look at videos all day of all the sit-ins that they did at those cafes, and them white folks coming up there pounding them in the head. Bull Connor, he all on TV being blatant with it. It's time for us to get blatant with it. It ain't over. It's far from over. Until we start getting to the point where we are serious as a heart attack and hitting those pockets, you ain't gonna see a great America. You ain't gonna see the change you want to be. You won't see it until we start hitting hard. And guess what? It's gonna take sacrifices. It's gonna take people to die. It's gonna take people to lose their homes and their jobs. But it wasn't no different than what they had to do in the 50s. They like, well, hell, I'm black. I ain't got nothing else to lose. I may as well fight. And we're gonna have to do that. This rent and all this stuff should never be come on. If it's $3,000 to $4,000 now, can you see yourself trying to give somebody $10,000 a month? Where the hell are you going to get that money from? What job, if you ain't a pro ball player, is paying you where you can, for the average black folks in Los Angeles? Y'all better wake up and smell the damn coffee and drink it too. I'm telling you, man, you're getting pimped. They're playing. They've always played us, and they're going to continue to play us until we start fighting. Black, brown need to stick together today and shut it down. Shut it down. Because if we don't, we'll be fighting another 100 years to try to repair everything that these fools are trying to wipe out. They didn't just come in office to do, I could see you just came in office to go do what you gonna do. But no, they're getting rid of all kinds of stuff black. Books, they want to shut this down. So when you start seeing that, then you start to realize their agenda was not all of what they said it was going to be. And I'm not going to sit up here and refute you crazy black folks that voted for him, because y'all watch the news too. Every time I say, well, Trump said this, they want to sit up there and say he didn't say that. And I'm like, well, what damn CNN news are you watching, ain't watching, or ignoring? Because every time you say he said this, they want to say he ain't say that. And I'm like, well, I just saw him live on the news. I mean, what news are you watching? You know, it's a joke. It's becoming a joke, and this man has nobody's best intentions but their own, and lying in their pockets. And you know what's so crazy? Y'all sit up there and you talk about Biden, and trust me, I wasn't into him either. But you talk about, oh, his mind. Well, Trump ain't, but he ain't no spring chicken himself. My mother was here roller skating at World on Wheels at 72 every single week. And she ended up 10 years later with dementia. So y'all need to cut trying to base somebody's presidency on their mindset on that level, because dementia can happen to anybody. You don't even have to be 78 or 80. But he ain't in no better position. He's a step closer to the grave than most of us. So miss me with that. Y'all better start thinking. And quit trying to vote for religious reasons and stuff. Religion should never, because God is not a God of religion. Ain't never been. Man created that religion crap, that all this stuff. and all these different names and denominations. God wasn't about no denomination, was Jesus. And some of y'all still ain't figured out who he was. You still sitting up there praying to some blonde hair, blue-eyed picture that is a known fact was commissioned by an Italian man for the Italian man to paint it. Y'all still, oh, don't get me started up in here. Oh my gosh. Y'all better wake up. The God, he's in you. Not no picture on no wall. God is in you. He's made you in his image. If he made me in his image, don't that mean he must be a combination of everything? Black, Latino, everything? You know, but I'm just saying. Y'all, I stopped playing games, man. Wasn't playing. I stopped having people playing games with my mind and everything when it come to that voting based on religion. One girl, well, he's against abortion. Well, let me tell you something, honey. People been aborting babies way before this. Back in Harlem, they had a person with a coat hanger they'd go see. You ain't stopping nobody from doing that. You are not stopping gay people from whatever it is that they want to do either. They've been around here. You go back in the Bible, you see that there was gay people in the Bible. This stuff is nothing new. I'm not condoning people. I am letting you know you ain't stopping nothing. When it's time, if God sees fit to change and fix and stop something, he'll do it. It ain't going to be us because the world has not changed. It's gotten worse. And if you want to really get deep about it, the book of Revelations, well, if you believe in the Bible, and we must be in Revelations knee deep into it by now with all the stuff that's going on. So that means all this mess is supposed to be here right now until what? The purification comes. So, no, you can't vote for that. And if you did, you've accomplished nothing. Because he's going to come in here and continue to wipe out everything that black folks have done, and he has done it. And these people who've gotten rid of DEI, they're letting you know what they were about all that time. They're letting you know, oh, good. We're going to hire people based on merit. They ain't never done that for black folks throughout most of the century. There are people who have gotten in, but on average, that's not the case. It's giving them the power to just say, whether you got the skills or not, to just say, nope, we don't want you. It's giving them more of that power. And we already see there's a lot more of those people out there because since the good part about Trump being in office is it's allowed us to see more of where the dogs are. Because they've been coming out showing themselves. Oh, this sports person said this. Oh, this person said the N-word. And we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. So it's cool because that's what happens when you turn the lights on. The roaches run. It's a known fact. So that's the whole thing, man. They don't want the Gil Scott-Herons. They don't want the Tory Reeses out there spreading the messages about the truth of the bull crap that's been going on and still going on. They don't want us out there playing this music and healing the minds with some positive stuff. Come on. That's the thing. They don't want you to know. They want to try to erase everything. Instead of doing the right thing, they're always doing the wrong thing, trying to cover up stuff. That's their thing. Every time, let me tell you, they make examples out of our criminals and make celebrities out of theirs. Look at all the movies, Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger, Al Capone, Scarface, and all, they got all these movies on these people, and you see them every year. They come on. I remember when I was a kid, me and Mom watched Bonnie and Clyde every year. WGN, Chicago. We knew Bonnie and Clyde was coming on. Black folks, oh, we just found out there was a Bumpy Ellis. You know, he was the black godfather of New York. You know, but they make examples out of us and celebrities out of theirs. That's the difference. And it's the American way. It's what it is, y'all. Paul Mooney. He's a good friend of mine. I met Paul, and he became a good friend of mine in 1988. He used to have a juice stand. If anybody didn't know Paul Mooney and remember him back then, he used to have a business right over there in Hollywood. And my mother and I, we used to go over there and we get the juices from over there. And he was funny as hell. We run in and he'd just have us dying. But Paul Mooney, he spoke the truth in his comedy. That's why he didn't get a lot of the airplay that he could have got on shows during that time, because Paul Mooney wasn't going to compromise. And you know, Paul Mooney tell it like it is. I'm one of them people. I don't care if you love me. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't give a damn. But you going to respect me. You going to do that. You might not like what I'm saying right now, but I ain't no dummy. I'm no dummy. You know, I've watched people. I've studied people for years. I know the real ones from the fake ones. I know the real preachers from the fake preachers. I know the Bible pimps from the Jehovah pimps. Okay? And I don't get played. So, you know, y'all just gotta realize, man, it's us. We make this country work. And if we continue to let the enemy get in there, he's not going to stop. See, the funny thing is they can't just get in office and just be happy with the little money they get. They got so much money, it ain't never enough. You know, you ever notice? He sat there and talked about the immigrants. So quote unquote immigrants. Now, Europeans are immigrants, but they won't admit it. He talks about the immigrants, but yet and still he wants to come up with a Willy Wonka golden ticket to sell to somebody for what? For $5 million. Now, where that $5 million going? Did you think that was the money that he had for you? Because if you are, you're sadly mistaken. That $5 million is going in his pocket. He's selling the country out and admitted it. And you guys are just, Trump. And I'm laughing at y'all like, y'all stupid. Y'all just got pimped and don't even know it. The pimp ain't just the guy in the hat and the Cadillac no more, y'all. Hate to bust your bubble. Because there's a whole bunch of pimps out there running around in jeans and got money like you wouldn't believe, man. And ain't rolling around in no Rolls Royces either. That's where y'all going wrong. The pimp is not just the dude in the hat and the Cadillac no more. That pimp is sitting right up in the White House, and y'all let him in. Thinking you was going to get some money. Okay. Woo! Thought y'all was getting paid. He getting ready to sell this country out for $5 million a whop for his Willy Wonka golden ticket. Oh boy. And colonizing? Y'all really think that they don't do that anymore? I was sitting up and scrolling on my phone, getting ready to post up an event that I was performing at, and ran across one of his briefings where he was talking about Gaza. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if nobody heard this same thing. And he said, well, Gaza, you know, basically is trash. The people just need to leave. And I can go and basically build my own playground right there. Now, when I heard that, I don't know about you, but in my head, colonizing bell was ringing. Because I'm like, I sat there and said, wait a minute. This man just said he gonna colonize Gaza. They need to leave their own spot because it don't meet his approval. It's raggedy or whatever. That's how they got America. Wasn't even America. That's how they got this land. They did the same thing. They called the Indians savages. Because what? They don't dress like us. They're running around. They're naked, showing their bodies. They need to be civilized like us. See, that's a European's biggest stupid mistake. They judge people off appearance. We need to come up to their standards. That's what the Indians are savages. Look at them. They live in huts and all this. Yeah, because they didn't have to buy no brick building and all these palaces that y'all built that had more torture chambers and torturing going on in there and all. Y'all better do y'all history, man. I'm telling you, you're getting pimped. You're not getting any money. If he finds out what job that you have, he's gonna fire you, man. He's already doing it. You just better hope you ain't in the field that he's coming after when he does it. And don't be crying either when it happens, because you put him in there. So don't be crying when it happens. You just pray to God that he open the door and get you another job and get on with that noise. You know, but like I said, I ain't never been stupid. I grew up. I had 2 aunts that was Black Panthers. They hipped me when I was little. So I've been up on game since day one. With all of it. The games from the church, the games in the streets, the games. Man, come on. What was we doing over in Africa? Minding our business. When we came here, they didn't even want us reading the Bible. Come on now. They didn't even want us doing that. Told us what religion we were going to be, and we fell for it. Y'all better start thinking way deeper than this stuff, because this little okie doke playground that they got going right here is going to continue to run people into the ground. They just said my wife just read it today to me, the highest rates of suicides, 19-year-olds and kids in schools and stuff like that, because they can't take the pressure of this world. Where are these kids going to go coming out of high school paying $3,000 a month rent? You notice probably some of your friends still got kids living at home at 26, 28 years old. I had a friend, she had her daughters in there, I think they still there, in their 30s. You know, but I'm the crazy one. I don't know what I'm talking about. I bet you some of y'all in here thinking right now, dang, you know, I ain't think about that. This man is firing a lot of people. How are you fixing the economy? How are you fixing getting people jobs, and you're firing them because they don't meet your approval? See, that's their problem. That's how they colonize. But that's what he said he was going to do with Gaza. Get on so I can turn it into my playground. And then what? Have them come back so they can be the labor to run his places. And guess what? That labor's going to be cheap too. He's going to pay them. He ain't paying them no money. Y'all better watch this stuff, man. It's a game. That White House has been full of crap since it was built. And I mean full of it. It ain't never been a time that this country has been great with the system they brought here. Never. And I can take you back to 1955 when they killed a 14-year-old boy named Emmett Till because he supposedly whistled at a white woman and she lied. And they killed that boy, massacred this child. So they ended up having to make a movie on him. I can take you back to when the Vietnam War. Let's go back to World War II, when black folks fought in that war and they came home and were still killed by white folks in uniform. Well, you still no great, even though, and then go get mad at Muhammad Ali because he didn't want to go to Vietnam and be a flunky and come back home to no parade, killing people he don't even know. He's like, why am I going to go let you send me off somewhere to kill people that ain't never done nothing to me, and I'm fighting you right here just to be a black man? Make it make sense, y'all. It ain't no different then than it is today. Only thing is we seeing cars driving by themselves now. Oh yeah, they got all of the technology in the world. But why is it that they can't show two simple things, love and compassion? We got all this technology. Oh, we're going to go to the moon. Come to find out, some black ladies helped them get there. You know, we wouldn't have never known none of this stuff if people didn't dig for the facts. I told you, my beliefs ain't based off of, oh, that's just because what I believe. My beliefs have never, ever been based on, my beliefs have to have the backup, some facts. So I don't talk about nothing that ain't no fact. I ain't never told nobody, well, why do you believe that? Oh, that's just what I believe. You know how many people have you heard tell you that? Don't that sound stupid? It's like, well, you got to have something that inspired the belief. Or are you stupid? Come on. If somebody asks me why I believe in something, I'll tell you why. Bottom line, you know, but we're being played. No, I mean, I'm not, but you're being played. Y'all ain't getting no money from him. He is going to shut it down for black folks, Latino people who mostly voted for him. Now, this is the kicker. This right here, really. If he's been telling you forever that he was going to deport. So they said the voting thing was a lot of Latino people. Now, I can't understand why they would do, knowing. It ain't like they just figured it out. He said what he was going to do before he came in office, knowing that people were going to be deported. Now, either you got to be stupid or you hating on your own people and trying to be greedy or something and stay. I don't know. I can't fathom what other reasons you would have to allow this man to do this to your people. What would I look like? This man said, I'm going to get rid of all your African American friends, blah, 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 and I'm going to go vote for him. I must be hating on the people. Something. But I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what? Y'all keep on voting them folks in the White House for them to save the day if you want to. I told you I'd do it specifically because black folks died to do it. I have never expected nothing great to come and save me from anything. Okay? But my God and my Lord and Savior, who I pray to, who I talk to, who lives in me. Okay? Trump ain't from no hood. He ain't from nothing. You know, he's from the land of, you know, the land of foolery, you know, from as far as I'm concerned. But, you know what, War said this, and this is fact. If you listen to the music of War, he said the world is a ghetto. I don't care if you live in Beverly Hills, they got problems too. How many killed their kids and committed suicide and all this kind of stuff. Okay, the world is a ghetto. Yep. War said that. But yeah, man, y'all do what you can to bless others. And no, if you can't help somebody, it's not a problem because my former pastor said this in a message one time. He said, maturity understands that people can't always be there for you. So you got to understand, so it's just sometimes you just got to handle situations right then and there. You have a car accident, maybe that husband or somebody, they just couldn't get to you, in time. It's life. Maturity understands that people cannot always be there for you. And I learned that in my life. But yeah, you guys, it's us. I'm going to say it again, who make this world work. The people. These governments, they've forever had boys playing with toys in there. They all like to war. It's an egotistical thing with governments. They didn't want to see a woman in office. You know why people are not ready for a woman in office? Because a woman don't want to see the world get blown up. A woman comes from compassion. Most women that I know have ever met, I don't know of one single woman that want war. Do you? Because if you do, please let me know. I don't know one woman that want to see kids getting blown up. They don't want compassion because they know women will come from a compassion state. Men can come from a compassion, because you have compassion in men, but they don't want them in office either. Oh, no. They don't want nobody who comes. Everything is for them is about business. Trump is a businessman. He's running the presidency like he runs a business. And most of those failed. Trump will sell this country out. And don't be surprised we get a nuclear missile headed over this way soon. Because let me tell you, if y'all don't know about China, China's military alone outnumbers the entire population of the country of America. And let me tell you about how, if you have never seen how they train, you think those old Bruce Lee movies and Kung Fu stuff's a joke? They could send 50,000 of those men over here and probably wipe out 10 states in a week with guys that they have trained like that. 50,000 people and wipe out 10 states. Y'all better quit playing with this government and expecting the greatness to come from that, because the greatness is you, me, and the people who get up every day to make things work. That's where the greatness is. Greatness was here in this land before the European invasion, when there was no taxes, no need for grocery stores, none of that. Mortgages, real estate, insurance, all these fraud pimping people, none of that stuff was here. These people were here living off this land, hunting, replenishing the animals that they killed to survive. Living free, could set up a house and a stake anywhere and live wherever they wanted to live. Man, if that's what freedom was, I want that. Because this crap today, this is crap. And they got you programmed to believe that living like this is the thing. And yep. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. It is what it is, but like I said, I'm in here doing what I do, creating music. I was usually every Tuesday I perform at the Culver City Farmers Market, because I have Tuesdays open, available to do it. And I did this. I do a lot of songs. I go through some jazz. I go through some smooth jazz, some spoken word, some rap, some my hip hop stuff, original music. I throw in some Aaliyah and I'm playing the actual melodies of these songs, the vocal parts on guitar. So you know what I'm playing. I ain't just out there playing around. I'm a musician, is what I do. And I've had people, man, I was sitting right in front of me. In fact, if you who saw my picture last week, who was over there watching me last week, Lamar Odom sat 10 feet across from me at a table with some friends. And I didn't realize it was him. I'm sitting up there, I'm grooving, man, and just doing my thing and watching the people. And when he stood up, at first I was like, is that Lamar? I was like, nah. So I'm grooving. And then he stood up. I said, oh my gosh, that's Lamar Odom. So I got a chance to talk. He said, man, I was watching you over there. I said, I was watching you, man. You was over there grooving. I was like, wow, man. Then other people come over and they say, you know what, man, I heard you play that song. They said I was feeling a certain way, but man, or that poem you did. Then I'll perform. But see, that's when you know what it's about. People come there, you know, they feeling a certain way. You don't know how people are feeling. And this guy looked like, you know, the ones that look like they got money. And he came over there and told me that. So you don't know what people are going through, whether they got a big mansion or not and all that. And then people was, oh, I'm telling you, show you how cruel people are. Since we had those fires, I couldn't believe some of the folks on Facebook that was sitting up there talking about, oh, they're happy, all those rich folks. I'm like, first of all, I got friends that live in Malibu that they ain't rich. They work at the movie studios. They just make enough to where they can afford to live in the apartment they live over there. You know, I have another friend. She's worked for Castle Rock Entertainment since I've known her. You know, she ain't rich. But then you sit up here and you hear these people talking about, oh, yeah, they got their houses burned and all that. And I'm like, boy, this is what I'm saying. No compassion. And be the sitting up there talking about they going to church and talking about they believe in God and all this kind of stuff and wishing that kind of stuff on people. There's kids over there that lost their toys, lost their homes, lost their schools and all this kind of stuff. It's compassion. When you have compassion and character, it goes a long way. I don't care if you got a $2 million home. I don't care if you have a Rolls Royce. I don't care if you look like Halle Berry. If you don't have no character, it don't mean nothing. Muhammad Ali at least had character. Oh, he's arrogant. Why? Because he keep telling black folks they're beautiful and that he's pretty. Oh, he's arrogant. Who are the arrogant people? Get the people out of Gaza so I can put my own. That's who y'all voted. On that note, I'm like, man, come on. But Muhammad Ali was arrogant because he was confident in himself. Every time we become confident in ourselves, we're arrogant. How many black folks, name one black person that went and colonized another land, another people? Name one. How many black people do you know throughout U.S. history have hung people from trees? Out of all the stuff that's been done to us, we've never been back to retaliate like that. And wait, have our kids sitting there watching us do it? But we're the uncompassionate people. We're the sickos. We're the thieves and the thugs and all of that kind of stuff. See, y'all better wake up and pay attention to who the thugs are. They run around up there in suits and sit up there claiming they're going to get rid of the people out of Gaza and all that kind of stuff who live there. Yeah, it ain't perfect, but they still love their home. I grew up in Chicago. I still love Chicago. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I love home. A lot of you grew up here in L.A. When I came here, the gangs was thick. Colors and all of that stuff was going on, but you still love your home. So, you know, and look at how they gentrified the Crenshaw. Look at how they gentrifying Windsor Hills right here. Look how they gentrifying everything. Come on. You guys better wake up before they snatch everything that you could possibly dream and think of from under your feet, because that's what they're doing. They told you they were going to do it, and they're doing it. They're doing it. I'm in here creating beautiful music. Me and my wife can do because we formed a spoken word duo and we gonna come out there and rock and shock y'all, man, because my wife is bad. She can write. She's a writer. She reads books, and I mean hundreds and hundreds of books. She bad. And I knew it. I said, oh man, we need to form a spoken word duo. I threw a little party here at the house a couple of weeks ago, and man, and I got that guitar, had it all set up in the living room like a performance stage. I had my big monitor speakers, and we was in here grooving, and all her friends and a few of my cousin was here, and they was like grooving, man. We was in here like Sonny and the Black Sonny and Cher up in here. And I said, oh yeah, the light switch came on. Time to do it. We gonna form us a spoken word duo. We gonna be like, well, we ourselves, because we got our own originality. But if you ever heard of the group Kindred, yeah, yeah, like that. But our own thing, So yeah, but man, I know I said a lot today, man. I know I said a lot. I've said a lot, and I'm pretty sure this video is probably gonna get taken down because I threw I did another one, man. That must have stirred FB up. You know who FB is. I'm not gonna say it. This particular format here must have messed them up because boy, they blocked. Must have just didn't allow me to post that video at all. But I'm like, whatever. People have heard it. They're listening now, so I don't care. But it just lets you know when they do that, they're blocking the truth. Be a truth seeker. Don't just believe stuff just because that's just what I believe. That sounds stupid. I can't stand when somebody tells me, like, that's just what you believe. What reason, what purpose, what grounds do you have for your belief? You just belief out of thin air? That's ridiculous. So, yeah, we got some work to do. And I'm, at that age where I got zero. I think I'm beyond zero. Anything, there's a number before zero, I think I'm beyond zero for BS. When we start getting more and more up there with age and stuff like that, we get to the point where it's like, you know what? I don't care if you're a relative. Let me tell you, when it comes to BS, I don't care who you are. You could be my mama. I ain't playing it. You can be closest to. I do not entertain BS from nobody, especially at the age I am now. Zero tolerance. I will not. I don't care who you are. I ain't got time for it. You better have it together. Don't come over here with that because I am not the one. I don't care if you get mad at me. I don't care if you don't want to talk to me. I don't have time for that. I will be 59 years old this year. I don't have time to care about you not liking me or liking what I said. If you ain't my wife, because I care about what she thinks. I'm getting outside of that. I don't give a damn. Because people's opinions don't mean nothing to me. Just like my opinions don't mean nothing to them. I don't care. You just get to the point where it's like, you know what? I'm not entertaining this. I don't care if you get mad at me because I can't help you do this and that and the other. Maturity understands that people can't always be there for you. Wasn't nobody always there for me when I had to go live in Philly. But I made it through it, That's in my book. I'll give you more details on that when my book is finished. But man, y'all got to start thinking about our youth. What is it that we can do to help them, to aid them and further them along, to help them through this situation of racism? The schools are being shot up, and this is supposed to be a great country. It is not. And like I said, it never will be. But we can make things be beautiful. That's what we can do. Because a system that is designed like this, people out there homeless still, and the only reason why they paid any good attention to that homeless crisis like they did was because of COVID. Because you have a lot, and you've been around LA, I take the trains, I see the people who are so far gone. There are people who are so mentally far gone. You've seen them out there grunting, screaming, hollering, so far gone, they didn't even know COVID existed. There are people that were out there that deep, mentally gone. So they had to pay attention to it because there are people living along the rivers, under the freeways, and they don't know nothing about all of this stuff that's going on. They're not watching the news and all of that. And so they had to pay attention to it. But I noticed the homeless problem back in 1987, 88, when I moved here to LA. And I was going down Central Avenue, and I happened to look over and seen just like, woo. I was like, what are all those boxes? And I'd never seen nothing like that in my life because Chicago don't have that. You know why? Because the kind of cold there will kill you dead. So no, in Chicago, they have projects. You got choices. You either stay out in the streets and die, or you go to the projects. So they had projects. They don't have them like that no more. But they had projects. So you can go somewhere. You got money coming from welfare. Till you do whatever you needed to do, you were straight. But I had seen this, and I didn't know what it was that I saw. And I would tell people, I said, man, I was coming down Central Avenue, I happened to look over this one, and they were like, what are you talking about? And I said, it was these boxes. It was thousands of them. And somebody said, oh, I know, that's Skid Row. I was like, what is Skid Row? He said, man, that's what homeless. I'm like, what? That was in 1988. Here it is. It's worse than it's ever been. It's gotten to the point where under the Crenshaw Mall, you would see the same guy. He'd set up under that bridge, under that little tunnel there, an entire apartment. He had carpeting, chairs, dining table. They'd move his stuff. He'd come back 3 weeks later, back over there again with more furniture. Like, this dude turned this into a whole apartment. One time I seen some dudes sitting outside in a lounge chair in Leimert Park watching a widescreen TV. When they used to have those bathrooms open in Leimert, I went to go use the bathroom one time, opened the door. There was a guy in there living in there. He's like, oh, you want to use my bathroom? I'm like, you know what? I was like, no. I went down to Aki. I'm like, you know what? They never had a plan for homeless crisis. You guys want to blame the current mayors and all of that. You're forgetting about all the people who were in office when this stuff was still in existence. Don't blame the current people because it's gotten out of control. It was out of control before Karen Bass got in office. So don't just blame her. We got to go back to that the fact that nobody did anything about it when it first was starting in Los Angeles. See, I pay attention to stuff. This homeless thing ain't just new. It's grown worse. And now we expect all the new people to be able to fix it and handle a situation that has grown out of control because other people didn't take care of their business. You never heard the saying, you come in, people mess up something and they expect you to clean it up. Like, wait, you did this mess and now you expect me to clean it up after you did. It's the same thing. It is the same thing, y'all. They never had a plan to fix this homeless situation. They left it up to the generous people, kind-hearted citizens, and the church. They thought it was going to happen through us. No. Because you could go over to West Angeles and see homeless people laying right on the stairs and right next to that church tomorrow. So, no, it was never going to just happen through us. They should have jumped on this stuff 50, 60 years ago when they saw it happening. But because when you don't have compassion, you can walk by people like that and not pay any attention to them. You can sit there and drive by in your Rolls Royce and see the person sitting on the bench with no clothes on and all of that. Back in 2005, I found a dead man. Most of y'all know me, probably remember this. It was just not long before Halloween. I was under that tunnel waiting for a bus. And I saw a man laying on the right under the bench. I saw his legs coming out, his body in there. I'm thinking the way he was kind of sprawled, thought he was asleep. Well, he was asleep, all right. Hold on. So I'm leaning over the bench like this, looking down, and his feet are coming from under the bench out toward the side, and I'm just sitting there. And I'm waiting for the bus, and I'm leaning on top of the bench, and I'm looking down. And I said to myself, I said, this man ain't so much as even flinched. Not even moved. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm looking. Something said, go look. I got up, I walked around the bench, and I looked down under there, and his eyes was wide open, looking at me like this. I was like, whoa. I said, this man is dead. Woman standing there waiting for the bus. Oh, I thought so. I'm like, what? You thought? Wasn't the bus came, she got right on it. I stood there. I said, oh my God. I called the police. I said, look, I found a man dead here at the bus stop under the tunnel of the Crenshaw Mall. They come over there. They finally get there and they question me. And they're like, well, okay, we got our lead captain. He's coming. He's gonna, man, for 2 hours. I'm like, you know what? And I'm glad I did it, though. I went through some hell with them. But I said, look, I told you. I was sitting here and I happened to just look at him and find out he's dead. It was a white guy, you know. And I remember his face so well, I could draw it from memory. And y'all know my art skills. I could draw that dude literally. Because I remember. Compassion led me to call them to get this man. Because I don't care who it is. And he was a white guy too. I don't care. You black, Latino, the right thing to do. I would never want nobody to find me on the streets and let me sit there. Now, multiple people had been standing at that bus stop before it was down to that one girl, you know, and that one lady. And other people came. They did the same thing. And I told a co-worker at one of the schools I was teaching at, and he's like, you know what? I came through there, and he said, that man is dead, and kept on driving. That's what he told me. And I'm like, so you saw it? You happened to come there? You know, it's compassion. Yeah, and if you don't get yourself and your spirit around people who truly believe in God, not what the pastor is telling you, because some of these pastors are a trip. I got a cool one. She cool. I can trust this one. But you need to start talking to God and getting around people who have compassion for one another. Because when you get around a person that feel like they ain't got nothing to lose, that is one of the most dangerous people you can have in your company, is to be around a person that feel like they got nothing to lose. You get with these men that don't regard women, You are wasting your time. Just think about how many relationships you've been in, failed relationships you've been in. You know, wasting your time because the mindset of some of these brothers today is all about what I can get. And now that the economy is getting really worse, these brothers are not trying to take care of people now, women now, because it's getting worse for everybody. So to be trying to run to some of these brothers for help, y'all need to just get up off of that, because these brothers only want one thing. Not all of them. Y'all know there's types of people out there. They only want what they can get from you, and that's it. They're vague about putting a ring on your finger. Walk away. Walk away. It ain't worth it. You know, maturity understands that people can't always be there for you. So you got to do what you got to do, because what? You got a God who got your back when man and woman don't. So you have to understand that. You know, quit getting tied up in all these relationships with people that just don't. You can tell. And people are like, how you going to tell? I've been able to people out in 5 minutes of conversation with them. Out of the heart, abundance of the heart, the mouth, you know what it is. I can't even say it right now, probably because I'm getting sleepy. The mouth, the heart speaks. You know, all you got to do is listen to people, what it is they're into, what they like to watch, what they smoking, what they drinking. People don't care about, they pride themselves in being who they are nowadays. So if you ain't watching that, they basically telling you, I like this and I like to do that. You have a choice right then and there to say, you know what? Jennifer Lewis, that woman is hilarious. I got a chance to meet actress Jennifer Lewis. I was with some friends. Man, this had to have been 2009 at the Grove. And there's this little old truck. And y'all have seen it before. It's an old classic truck that sits out there in the Grove. I like classic cars. I always like to go by there and look at that truck. So we standing there taking pictures, me and my friends. And all of a sudden, Jennifer Lewis walks up. Like, what? So my friend's daughter was like, oh, wow. Well, and she couldn't think of a name. Jennifer sitting there with her hands on the hip. You know, like, you know who I am. And she's like, Tina Turner's mama. Because, you know, she played Tina Turner's, the mother of Tina Turner in What's Love Got to Do With It. She's like, I'm not letting you slide. And she said, my name is Jennifer Lewis, and you going to remember my name. And she sat there and talked to us, you know, for a while. But that woman, she just did an interview recently about her relationships. Y'all need to go Google that up. This woman is on fire. She don't play around. She is not messing around, you know, because she been through some things, you know. And like I said, and she said, basically what did it for her with the last person was what he said. I'm telling you, y'all, they're letting, she said the minute he said what he said, I'm not going to tell you, go look it up. She said, oh, I got to leave this fool. She didn't waste no time. People have let us know numerous times that they weren't right for us, and we ignored it. And we blame them when we chose them. You know, so we have to really, man, we got to come together. We got to stop all this and quit expecting that White House to save us, because it's not going to do it. It's not going. They're not in there to save people. They're in there to save money. They're in there to make more money. I can't fathom if I had $5 million. I can't fathom the fact that, okay, maybe, yeah, I may want to earn a little more, but after you start getting in the billions, don't you think, okay, that's enough, more than enough. But they act like they're going to live forever, you know, and trust. They are Elon, Trump, they're planning to raise up the next generation to take their place. Though Trump's son looked just like him. Elon's little son looked like a little militant already. He over there telling Trump to shut up and all kinds of stuff. Trust that they're putting in them. So we have another irritating generation coming up with our kids. You know, it's not going to get great. It's already is with us. You know, and not in the way that they want. It's us. Always been us. We make this thing work. That's what it's about. They ain't getting up, going to no 9-to-5 slaving over nothing. They ain't doing none of that. You know. Like I said, if I had choices, I'd rather live when it was before 1492, when I could just set me up a house. I didn't have to go to no grocery store. I didn't have to go see no doctor, make no doctor's appointments. See, this is stuff we don't think about. That wait a minute, this country really was like that. I mean, they had they had some witch doctors or whatever, but they had people that knew how to get rid of what you had, but you didn't have to worry about no measles and mumps and all of that. They'd go out there and get some roots and get and some plants and you'd be well, you know. But that was great. That sounds great to me. Not sitting up here stressing. How many of y'all stressed living in this country? You think that was great? Come on. The world that it was, they couldn't stand it. These people living over here, we need to get this land, cut it up into tiny little pieces, squares and stuff like that, you know, and make people get up and put money in our pockets and tell them that they need to sit here for 60 years and then retire. And that's the American dream. You get married, have a wife and a dog, and that's the American dream. And then every time we tried to get that, what did they do? Oh, you can't buy a house in Leimert Park. Oh, you can't buy a house up in Windsor Hills. Right here. You know, you can't do that because you're black. I could go on and on with this, you know, but why? Like I said, love yourselves, love your family, love your friends. Stay away from people who are heartless, who only think about themselves. Stay away from people who make empty promises. Get away from relationships where they're not trying to marry you because you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. You're only getting the money or whatever it is that they're able to do for you until they decide they want to go and screw somebody younger, prettier. It's the world we live in. You got to know who you are. I don't care who you are. You got to know who you are. You know, you got to do it. But anyway, y'all, I'm out of here. It's Saturday. I am chilling. The missus is chilling. I'm in my lab doing my music. I'm about to get over here and finish mixing up this track. And y'all have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Get some rest. Go to church if that's what you do. And all of that. And I'll holler back at you soon. Yep. Peace and blessings. Who all we got on here? Oh, William, you've been on here forever. Oh yeah, Kim, you know me. I'm always hit the truth. It ain't about me. That's just what I believe. You know me. You've never heard me say no mess like that. I would always hit you and your son with some truth. You know that. You know that. I'd be like, this is what it is. Stay away from this. Watch this. All right, y'all. But anyway, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Peace.